have you ever been at a place in your life where you have had a lot of life experiences working with animals, um, spent a lot of your, maybe even volunteered a lot of your time and energy trying to help the dogs in your neighborhood? And now you're at this point where you think it might be best to explore what this interest, what this passion of yours could look like in terms of a career, in terms of bringing all of the past experiences you've had to help animals and using those past experiences in maybe a new and exciting kind of way. I'm asking you this question because today we have a great friend of mine, a colleague of mine. We have Sofia Prado joining us. Sophia is the community engagement coordinator at the Street Dog Coalition. And she was introduced to the Street Dog Coalition in 2020. She was in awe of how volunteers treated pets and people with compassion and the highest level of care. And according to her, she could not stop thinking about the Street Dog Coalition. So 3 years later, she started interning with SDC and she was invited to officially join the team in 2024. And I'm really excited because I was just telling her I don't know how we lived without her in the past. And prior to joining the Street Dog Coalition, Sophia started a dog rescue in Mexico with her father, where they provided free wellness clinics and spay or neuter events. And Sophia is also passionate about wildlife conservation, and she's worked with various conservation nonprofits in the Peruvian Amazon. She has a
Mhm.
BS in biology from the Evergreen State College and a master's in nonprofit management from Northeastern University. Whoo! Welcome to the podcast, Sophia.
Thank you.
I should also add, I'm biased, but Sophia is a fellow vegan for the
That's how
animals. Hey, there we go. I love it. So, Sophia, like you have really just ticked every box from animal companions to wildlife to helping farmed animals by not eating them or
yeah.
wearing them. Wow. I'm gonna I'm gonna go now. I'm just gonna let you do your thing. And I should say, and I promise I'm not gonna spend this whole episode talking. I've been doing a lot of that today already. But Sophia, you are, and I want our listeners to know, you are one of the kindest, most humblest, most like compassionate, redefining the word teamwork on an hourly basis person like I have ever had the pleasure to collaborate with. So it is no surprise to me that you have had so much success in the past in terms of helping animals and that you continue to have success because you're just like a badass, awesome person. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, it's so great to have you here. Tell our audience where are you at right now? Because we're not in the same place. We're not even in the same time zone.
Oh, like where am I physically? I'm in Auburn, California. I mean,
Okay.
Auburn, Washington. Sorry, I just moved from California, so I'm still like learning where I am.
I love that. Okay, okay. And now that since you clarified and said where are you at? Where am I at physically? Like I'm going to also ask you where are you at mentally, emotionally? What's your day like today? How's it been going?
I'm doing good. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm happy to be on the podcast.
Yay! I'm really happy to have you. And maybe we can just let's just dive into these questions. I'm really stoked. And again, to our listeners, if you have any questions or comments or tuning in live, please let us know. Sophia is so generous with her time and would love to answer your questions. So Sophia, let's get started. Um, and this is really exciting because a lot of these questions, you and I have been working together for months and months, and I don't know the answers to them. So I'm going to be tuning in and hearing this for the first time, like everyone else. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in animal welfare? And how did your previous experience with wildlife conservation and dog rescue in Mexico influence your decision to start working with the Street Dog Coalition?
Okay. I guess it all started my parents are very compassionate people. Like my dad is obsessed with animals. Like if you met my dad, he's like another level of like animal lover. And he kind of introduced me to that idea of like being, well, both my parents being kind to animals and compassionate. And we started our dog shelter together when I was 14. My dad and I kind of talked about it, and we worked. He let me do it basically at their house. So and it started there. It was just from there working with different organizations. Like I tried to collaborate with different nonprofits in Mexico for dog stuff, for the spaying and neutering campaigns. And then I always wanted to work with wildlife. It was like I love all animals, so I can't pick really. So I started volunteering at different nonprofits in Peru and like rainforest conservation. And then that's when I kind of knew like, okay, I want to do something with nonprofits for sure. And I want to do it with animals because I mean, that's kind of like my passion. So Street Dog Coalition just kind of fits perfectly because it's helping people, it's helping animals. It's the best of both worlds. So I love working for it. It's perfect. It's exactly what I want.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I had a similar experience to you in that I for the longest time wanted to help animals, and I always jokingly said, like, I like people more than animals. But then I've started to realize that I like people and I like animals and I really like people who like animals.
Yeah.
Almost as much as I like animals. So
Yeah.
it is really, really cool that you mentioned that the Street Dog Coalition, of course, does exist at this intersection between human health, animal health, protecting that human animal bond, and working to, I think the ripple effect of what the Street Dog Coalition does is so cool in terms of keeping animals with their people so that, they don't wind up in shelters, reducing zoonosis through communities across the country by keeping animals healthy and protected from different diseases. So, yeah, that's a fabulous answer. And maybe you can share with us. I should say that one of our viewers, Clarissa, has said you're awesome. I know she's talking about you. So thanks, Clarissa.
Thank you.
Maybe, Sophia, can you share with us? So you have had the privilege, let's say the privilege, of doing a little bit of everything at the
Mhm.
Street Dog Coalition.
Yeah.
Um, I call it privilege because sometimes it feels like a tangled knot. And I know most of our listeners, they work in veterinary care or in their own nonprofits, so they get it. Can you maybe share with us a particularly impactful or heartwarming experience you've had while working with the Street Dog Coalition? And maybe you can tell us how this experience has kind of shaped your dedication to our mission of providing this veterinary care to pets of people experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, I can do that. So it was actually just before I started working for Street Dog Coalition. My first experience with Street Dog was volunteering at a clinic in the Bay Area. At the time, I was a vet assistant in California, and my clinic was going to kind of just see what it was like. We were deciding, or they were trying to see if they could start a team. So it was just kind of like learning about what Street Dog is. And we went out, and I was assisting the vet. Basically, I was their assistant and doing all the care and everything. And there was a woman who didn't speak any English, and I'm a Spanish speaker as well. So it felt really nice to be able to help her in that way and like give her resources and help her with her dog and everything. And just seeing everybody at Street Dog, like obviously it was my first time, but everybody there was like everybody knew each other. Like all the clients were coming in and talking, like to the vets, to the assistants, to staff. It was so nice. It was just like a family. Like what Street Dog Coalition is, we're family. So ever since then, it was just remembering that and just why we do what we do.
Wow. Yeah, that's exciting. I think when you when you find yourself in a position where you are fulfilling a need that nobody else around you at that time can fulfill and you feel irreplaceable, I think that's a really exciting light bulb moment in any activist life or in any volunteer's life where
Yeah.
you feel, um, grateful in your case, grateful for the fact that you can speak Spanish, grateful for the fact that you can be of service. So it kind of feels like, at least in my history, it kind of felt, I have this moment of like, oh, everything in my life was kind of leading me to this moment where I could
Yeah.
lean into my skills. So did you kind of experience that too?
Yes, it was, I mean, especially because like I'd never done like any vet, like I'd done like the rescuing and like the organizing the campaigns, like the back end of that, but I'd never been involved in like the veterinary medicine. So it was kind of, it just worked out in California where that job was available. It was kind of, I have a degree in biology, so I was like, well, okay, let's do that because it's actually related to my degree. Um, and then it was like, oh my God, this is why I'm here. So I could have found street dog, like it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, the vet medicine is great, but this is really what I want to do.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. And that actually leads right into our next question here. So, your newly minted title, I love your title. That's why I can always remember it, is our community engagement coordinator. And I feel like those are three of just like my favorite words.
Mhm.
Love the community that you have co-created. Love that you do such an amazing job at keeping all of these moving parts and people engaged in what we do. And of course, your coordination skills are top notch. So, can you tell us a little bit? And I'm laughing because it's like, how do you even answer this question? Can you tell us a little bit about maybe, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do at the Street Dog Coalition, and that's why I'm laughing. And what are some of the challenges that you've had to kinda navigate in this role?
Okay. So, I guess kind of like what you said, it kind of varies day to day, but usually I help with volunteer emails, so I'm the person that volunteers contact if they want to help out with a team, so I connect them with the team. So it's basically being that connection to connect everybody to where they're supposed to go. I also answer our general emails at right now. That's what I'm doing right now. Just people asking questions about clinics or partnerships that we might have or any donation questions, anything like that. I also manage our clinic schedule. So anytime we're going to have a clinic, I post it to different mediums that we have just to make sure everything's, the same throughout. So we know what's going on. Everyone in the organization knows when we have clinics. And I occasionally help you with development stuff, which I really like the creative side. And, my degree is nonprofit management with an emphasis in development. So I'm very interested in doing and working with that. As far as challenges, sometimes it's hard to keep track of all the things going on. It's making sure I'm staying on top of different things and what email I'm talking to who on because, it gets confusing. But otherwise, it's great. Like I don't have any like complaints or anything. I love it.
Of course you don't have any complaints because you are literally the most delightful person I've ever met. It's so funny as you're saying all these things that you do, I am almost randomly thinking about, I think it was like the Golden Globe Awards, something that happened last month. And I forget who, of course, but there was someone that was accepting their award and they immediately they thanked all the assistants. They thanked all the people that have answered their emails over the years. They thanked all the schedulers. They thanked all of the production assistants.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone in the audience was, like, screaming with joy because, individuals who and I'm someone who very much I'm, like, a behind the scenes person. I've always been in this one role or another. This is probably the most like public facing role I've had in an organization. Usually
Yeah.
I'm behind the scenes doing what you do, just being the glue that tries to hold everyone together. Sometimes that role is just not very sexy. So sometimes that you're just navigating a lot of different personalities and tasks and, wearing this hat only to then wear this hat. And then at the end of the day, you have all these hats stacked on your head.
Yeah.
So I just know that, so it's very exciting for me to have this conversation with you because I love putting someone like you that works so hard for animals. I love getting you, the microphone because I think that roles like yours are really relatable. I know I can relate, and they're oftentimes thankless roles. So, Sophia, I'm going to thank you again for all that you do for us and for animals. And I'm excited because I know that there are going to be a lot of people listening to this episode that have spoken with you and can now put a face to the name. So, can you tell us, in your experience, now we're getting into the weeds here. So, how do you personally approach, because you make it look so easy, and I think again it's because you're so delightful. How do you approach building and maintaining relationships with volunteers and partners? How do you approach relationship building in a way that really ensures the success and sustainability of our initiatives and programs? What's your guiding light?
I guess it would be just, every time someone fills out like an email contact form, they put some notes in, and it's just making sure you kind of read into that and see like, okay, what why are they wanting to volunteer? Like
Mm,
what do their experiences bring? What could they do? Maybe outside the box thinking like it's like, okay, I want to do this, but look at these skills that you have. You could also do this for us. So
wow.
I like doing that with people being like, okay, personalizing the experience for people and trying to
Yes.
connect them with the right person, like, and bring out things that maybe they hadn't thought about. Maybe they're like, oh, well, I've never worked with animals, but I really want to. It's like, you don't need to work with animals. You have all these skills and or we'll teach you, you don't need to like be a vet assistant to volunteer with an organization or anything like that. So I think just making it personalized and making sure that we're using everybody's skills in the best ways we can.
Oh, what a dreamy answer. And I think you do that so well, Sophia. I think you have this ability to, first of all, like read what people are telling you that they're interested in doing and can do, which is, which for a lot of organizations, they just don't have the capacity to have that kind of personalized communication with people, or they don't prioritize that. So just your ability to identify individual strengths by simply absorbing what they're communicating to you is amazing. And I think in addition to, reading into what people are telling you, you also have this amazing ability to really like read between the lines. And kind of like what you said, not only do you personalize the experience for people by making them feel seen and heard and felt and appreciated, but you have this ability to sometimes see things in people that they may not be able to see in themselves, and direct people in a way like down a path that maybe they're not really familiar walking down. And now I have this mental image of like you with a little lantern leading new volunteers down like a path that you have kind of walked down before. And I feel like you're so good at that, and your sunny disposition and your friendly demeanor makes you the perfect person to have at the face of our organization. Having you at the gate is just really rewarding for us, and I know for people who are kind of dipping a toe into the pool that is the Street Dog Coalition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that. And maybe you can tell us, with your background in biology, which is so cool by the way, and nonprofit management, you seem to have this incredibly varied life experience, which of course gives you a unique perspective on the future of animal welfare and community engagement. So when you kind of think about the future of engaging communities to be more compassionate toward animals, toward people who care for animals, regardless of their financial status, what kind of what kind of strategies do you believe are crucial for a this is like a heady question. What kind of strategies do you believe are crucial for kind of addressing the needs of vulnerable pet guardians and their companions,
Yeah. That's like a hard question, but
right?
um yeah, I guess the first thing would be not even like the direct care, would be the background stuff, which is like education and making teaching people to be more compassionate, especially kids, like starting at a young age to make sure that
Yes.
we can be compassionate when we're older, because obviously, not everybody grows up with parents who let them rescue dogs or whatever, like, so just trying to bring compassion into schools, trying to teach kids, and not just like animals, like just being a good person, compassionate with people, everything. I think that that would help us a long way,
Mm.
to help these problems later, because some people don't think about people experiencing homelessness, or it's not like at the forefront of their mind, which you obviously, like, we can't understand, we don't, if you haven't experienced it, I feel like you can't really understand it, but being compassionate towards it is a different thing, like, rather than being apathetic. So I think just compassion for children would be the best, and just and adults, I mean, obviously, but I think with kids it's easier to kind of try to teach compassion at a young age, so we can just be better people, be kinder to animals, be kinder to other people when we're adults.
I love that. And I think that there's really something to that. I was just talking with my partner the other day about this, how yeah, when we teach kids at a young age, to be more compassionate to animals, it's a little bit our viewer Clarissa says, "Amen." I love that. When we can teach people how to be compassionate to animals, I have found that that's a really great entryway, and maybe you found this too, for teaching kids how to be more compassionate. Um, not only to the environment that they live in, but even like to themselves. I've
Mhm.
often found that the way we treat others, regardless of their species, is kind of an indication of the way we treat ourselves deep down. Like the way that if you're out there like saying really nasty stuff to people, chances are like you're not saying nice things to yourself. You're kind of like
Yeah,
living in this vacuum of negativity. I
yeah.
realize I'm making broad claims here, but this is just my own life experience. So I love what you're talking about, because I feel like there is this symbiotic relationship between how we treat animals, how we treat people who have less than us or have more than us, and how we treat ourselves. And as you know, at the Street Dog Coalition, we have this one health approach. We're all about zooming out, looking at the big picture. Um, but yeah, I just really love, and honestly, for some people, I think it's a lot easier for them, to be nicer to animals and to others. It's easier to kind of cultivate that than it is to be nice and easy to ourselves. I think we're
Yeah.
really hard on ourselves. So anyway, I realize I'm getting into a completely different topic for a different day. But yeah, that just kind of dropped in for me, as you were saying that, because I know personally, the more the more compassion I have, the more time I spend with animals and the more compassion I show them, the more compassion I show myself. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think,
yeah.
like, kindness is healing, yeah.
Yes, kindness is healing. Ugh, I love that. That's beautiful. And my last question for you before I let you go, Sophia, is if if someone is listening to this podcast episode and actually, you know what? I asked that question last time. I want to ask you a different question. This is a question I've asked others in the past, and it's kind of my favorite question. I don't know that I've asked it for a couple of months, but I'm going to ask it.
Okay.
So if you had a billboard and you could put whatever message you wanted on that billboard, it could say whatever you want. What would that billboard say?
That's a good question. I would probably put something about street dog on it. I would probably
Yes.
start nice photos, a really big photo, and then, volunteer or donate or something, something like that.
Love that. Look at you on brand all the time. I love it. I would put like go vegan, something really annoying. Um, you know me, I love to be annoying. That's awesome. So it's very obvious here that, the Street Dog Coalition is near and dear to your heart,
Yeah,
and I absolutely love all the ways in which you've helped us elevate our organization, raise awareness about our mission. You have in more ways than one, whether you know it or not. I know you're super humble and sweet, but I think you have really um, just done so much for pets of people experiencing homelessness. You're always there when they need you, when individuals are reaching out to us, and I'm so grateful to just have this opportunity to give you the mic and show the world our secret weapon, which is you, Sophia.
thank you.
Yeah, no, really, Sophia, I'm really, really grateful to have you as part of our community. I'm so glad that you're with us. I know we have a meeting in like less than 90 minutes, and in all honesty, in all seriousness, we could not do what we do without you. So, so grateful for you, and I hope that you remain with us for years and years.
I
And
will.
thank you for all that you do, Sophia. Right. You're like, "Yes, I will. We're not letting you get away." So thank you, Sophia, for being such a force for good and such a light in all of our lives. And I want to thank our listeners and our viewers for tuning in today and for just also being a part of our history. This podcast is without a doubt my favorite thing to do every week. I love chatting. And Sophia, thank you again. And for everyone who's tuning in and listening, if you want to learn more about what we do as an organization, if you want to be our next Sophia, by all means, check out the links in our show notes. And there are plenty of opportunities for you to volunteer with us. We're in over 60 cities across the country. And just so you know, when you do reach out to us, the first person will be this lovely lady right here, Sophia. So if that isn't incentive enough, I don't know what is. Thank you so much, Sophia. Really appreciate you. And thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon at our next meeting.
Yeah.
Take care, Sophia. Thank you.
Bye.